The installation of a new battery backup system intended to maintain several house circuits during utility power failures presents some code compliance concerns that need to be addressed. First issue involves branch circuits originating from separate panel boards. According to the National Electrical Code Section 210.20 at WO, branch circuits must originate from a single panel board. The situation where the branch circuits originate from the main breaker panel but terminate in the load panel connected to the battery backup system violates this code. This is because the hot conductors were spliced in the main panel and extended to the new load panel, while the neutral conductors remained in the main panel. The code requires that the entire branch circuit, including both hot and neutral conductors, should originate from the same panel board. Secondly, the creation of circuit junctions within the main breaker panel also raises a concern. While the National Electrical Code Section 110.14c doesn't explicitly prohibit junctions in a panel board, it mandates that all accessible current-carrying parts must be completely enclosed. The spliced branch circuit conductors in the main panel would not be enclosed, thereby violating this section of the code. These junctions should be eliminated to ensure compliance and safety. Regarding grounding, the use of electrical metallic tubing, or IMT, as the grounding conductor between the load panel and the main breaker panel is permissible, provided that the connection is continuous. National Electrical Code Section 250.66 requires that grounding conductors be continuous and not spliced. If the EMT provides a continuous, uninterrupted path for grounding, it meets the code's requirements. In summary, the existing installation does not fully comply with the National Electrical Code. To rectify these issues, several steps must be taken. The branch circuits must be housed in the panel controlling them, necessitating the relocation of neutral conductors to the load panel. The circuit junctions within the main breaker panel must be removed. The grounding connection between the load panel and the main breaker panel has to be verified to be continuous. When upgrading the load panel to a larger one, keep the following steps in mind. Firstly, remove the spliced branch circuit conductors from the main breaker panel and connect them directly to the corresponding breakers in the new load panel. This ensures that the branch circuits originate and terminate within the same panel. Secondly, install neutral conductors in the new load panel and connect them to the neutral bus bar. This completes the branch circuits within the new panel, aligning with code requirements. Thirdly, ensure that the grounding connection between the new load panel and the main breaker panel is continuous and compliant with National Electrical Code Section 250.66. This provides a safe and effective path for fault current. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards designed to ensure electrical safety. Understanding and adhering to these codes is crucial for any electrical installation, particularly when dealing with backup power systems. Panel boards play a central role in electrical distribution systems, and understanding their function is essential for safe and compliant installations. A panel board is essentially a metal enclosure containing busbars, overcurrent protective devices like circuit breakers or fuses, and connection points for branch circuits. It serves as a distribution point for electrical power, receiving power from a main source and distributing it to various branch circuits throughout a building. Branch circuits are the pathways that deliver electricity from the panel board to individual loads, such as lighting fixtures, appliances, and outlets. Each branch circuit is protected by an overcurrent device within the panel board, which interrupts the flow of electricity in the event of a fault or overload. There are several types of panel boards, including lighting and appliance branch circuit panel boards, power panel boards, and distribution panel boards. Lighting and appliance branch circuit panel boards are designed to supply lighting and appliance loads in residential and commercial buildings. Power panel boards are used to supply power to large equipment and machinery in industrial settings. Distribution panel boards serve as main distribution points for electrical power in large facilities. When installing or modifying a panel board, it's crucial to follow all applicable codes and regulations. The NEC provides detailed requirements for panel board installation, including clearances, grounding, and overcurrent protection. Grounding is a critical aspect of electrical safety, ensuring that metallic parts of an electrical system are connected to earth, providing a low impedance path for fault current. This helps to prevent electrical shock and minimize the risk of fire. The NEC specifies the requirements for grounding electrodes, grounding conductors, and bonding connections. Grounding electrodes are typically metal rods, pipes, or plates buried in the earth that provide a connection to the earth. Grounding conductors are used to connect the panel board and other electrical equipment to the grounding electrode. Bonding connections are used to connect metallic parts of the electrical system together, ensuring that they are at the same electrical potential. Overcurrent protection is another essential aspect of electrical safety, protecting electrical circuits from excessive current that could cause overheating, damage to equipment, or even fire. Overcurrent protective devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to interrupt the flow of electricity when the current exceeds a predetermined level. Circuit breakers are reusable devices that trip and open the circuit in the event of an overcurrent. Fuses are one-time devices that melt and open the circuit when subjected to an overcurrent. The NEC specifies the requirements for overcurrent protection, including the selection and installation of overcurrent protective devices. Conductors are the wires that carry electricity from the panel board to the loads. The NEC specifies the requirements for conductor sizing, insulation, and installation. Conductor size is determined by the ampacity of the circuit, which is the maximum amount of current that the conductor can safely carry. Conductor insulation protects the conductor from short circuits and ground faults. Conductor installation must comply with the NEC requirements for raceways, cable trays, and other wiring methods. Raceways are enclosed channels that protect conductors from physical damage and environmental factors. Cable trays are open support systems for conductors that are often used in industrial and commercial buildings. Wiring methods refer to the techniques and materials used to install conductors, such as conduit, cable, and surface raceway. Electrical metallic tubing, or EMT, is a type of raceway that is commonly used in electrical installations. It is a thin-walled steel conduit that provides protection for conductors. EMT is typically installed with compression fittings or set screw fittings. The NEC specifies the requirements for EMT installation, including support spacing, bending radius, and grounding. In the presented scenario, the violation of National Electrical Code Section 210.20 ATWO highlights the importance of understanding the definition of a branch circuit and its origin. A branch circuit, as defined by the NEC, is the circuit conductors between the final overcurrent device protecting the circuit and the outlet or outlets. The overcurrent device is typically a circuit breaker or fuse located in the panel board. The outlet is the point where electricity is drawn from the circuit to power a load, such as a receptacle, a lighting fixture, or an appliance. The NEC requires that a branch circuit must originate from a single panel board. This means that all of the conductors of the branch circuit, including the hot conductor, the neutral conductor, and the equipment grounding conductor, must originate from the same panel board. In the described scenario, the hot conductors of the branch circuits were spliced in the main breaker panel and extended to the new load panel, while the neutral conductors remained in the main breaker panel. This violates National Electrical Code Section 210.20 ATWO because the branch circuits do not originate from a single panel board. To correct this violation, the neutral conductors must be moved from the main breaker panel to the new load panel so that all of the conductors of the branch circuits originate from the same panel board. The concern regarding circuit junctions in the main breaker panel highlights the importance of understanding the requirements for making splices and terminations in electrical installations. The NEC provides specific requirements for splices and terminations to ensure that they are safe and reliable. National Electrical Code Section 110.14c requires that splices and terminations must be made in a manner that ensures good electrical contact and adequate insulation. The NEC also requires that splices and terminations must be made in approved enclosures such as junction boxes or panel boards. In the described scenario, the spliced branch circuit conductors in the main breaker panel were not enclosed. This violates National Electrical Code Section 110.14c because the accessible current carrying parts are not completely enclosed. To correct this violation, the splices must be removed from the main breaker panel and made in an approved enclosure, such as a junction box. The use of electrical metallic tubing, or EMT, as the grounding conductor between the load panel and the main breaker panel raises a question about the suitability of EMT for use as a grounding conductor. The NEC allows EMT to be used as a grounding conductor under certain conditions. National Electrical Code Section 250.118 specifies the types of equipment grounding conductors that are permitted by the NEC. EMT is listed as an acceptable equipment grounding conductor if it meets certain requirements. These requirements include that the EMT must be installed with listed fittings and that the EMT must be electrically continuous. In the described scenario, the use of EMT as the grounding conductor between the load panel and the main breaker panel is acceptable as long as the connection is continuous and the EMT is installed with listed fittings. However, it is important to note that the NEC also requires that the equipment grounding conductor must be sized in accordance with National Electrical Code Section 250.122. This section provides tables that specify the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor based on the size of the overcurrent protective device protecting this circuit. The size of the EMT must be large enough to accommodate the required size of the equipment grounding conductor. In addition to the specific code sections mentioned above, there are other general code requirements that apply to the installation of electrical systems. Firstly, all electrical work must be performed in a neat and workmanlike manner. Secondly, all electrical equipment must be installed in accordance with its listing and labeling. Thirdly, all electrical systems must be properly grounded to ensure safety. Fourthly, all electrical systems must be protected from overcurrent. Fifthly, all electrical conductors must be properly insulated. Sixthly, all electrical splices and terminations must be made in approved enclosures. By following these general code requirements, the risk of electrical shock, fire, and other hazards can be minimized. The National Electrical Code is a comprehensive set of standards that governs the safe installation of electrical systems. It is important to consult the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations before beginning any electrical work. In addition to following the code requirements, it is also important to use good electrical practices. Firstly, always turn off the power before working on any electrical equipment. Secondly, use the proper tools for the job. Thirdly, inspect all electrical equipment for damage before using it. Fourthly, never overload electrical circuits. Fifthly, keep electrical equipment dry. Sixthly, if you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a qualified electrician. By following these good electrical practices, you can help to ensure your safety and the safety of others. The information provided here is for educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work.